So there's the full version of this song. And again, I'll repeat. The name of the song is right now is A minor, D minor, C, and E minor 7th song. No title. It's just a song to practice these chords. So again, hopefully you worked on those chord progressions, just strumming the chords first, because you really got to get used to the chord transitions before you start picking and get more finer details into this. But this sounds a little bit nicer, and it also ensures that every single note is coming out clearly. Otherwise, it's not going to sound good at all if you're muting out some certain strings. So that's what we're going to work on in this lesson. Let me bring the camera down and let's go at it. Okay, so let's take another quick look at the chords. Here's an A minor. Again, you should be familiar with this because you should have gone through actually strumming the chords first, that version. So here's the A minor. Remember, the D minor is going to be just like taking your A minor, bringing them all down one string, bringing that third finger over, playing that, back to D minor, A minor. Then we go to our C, and then we go over to our E minor 7th. So make sure, though, you can play those every single chord nice, clean, and clearly, and you can switch between them pretty comfortably. If you can't, go back to that lesson and work on that. Master that part of it. So, assuming that you have, let's take a look at the actual part. So what we're going to do, here's our A minor. We're going to start with that. We begin by picking our A string, D string, and our G string. I'm going to pick those individually. And after that, we're going to just strum both our B string and E string together. So 3 individual and the 2 together. Practice that a couple times. Make sure you have that nice and clear. And if it sounds something like this, like that, that means my finger is leaning over. You gotta make sure you're bringing it around. That's why working on this is so useful, because if you're muting out some strings, it's not going to sound so hot. So again, three notes together. Separately. Then your B and high E strings together. You go to the D minor. You're just going to pick them each. Every single one, starting with your D string. Your D, B, D, G, B, and E strings. Now, one of the things you might want to do is just practice going between those two. Back and forth. And at first it's going to take you a bit. So it might take you, a second or so to get the positioning in there and then picking it. And that's perfectly fine. Just get used to that. This is different than just going like this and doing that, so it's okay if it takes you a little bit of time to get used to that. Just keep practicing that, and then try to get it as evenly as possible, and then maybe bring in a drum beat at a very slow tempo and see if you can play along with it. So, the first part actually goes one time on the the A minor, then one time on the D, you go back to A minor, then you're going to go over to your C, and what you're going to do here is you're going to pick just the 2 of them this time. Last time we did 3, and then we we strum some the two remaining notes together. This one, just do only two. Our A string, D string, and then we're strumming the G, B, and high E strings together. And even at that, you can include the D string if you want. It sounds a little more fuller that way, actually. You know, whatever you prefer. And there you go. Try that a couple times. And then finally is our E minor 7. That's pretty easy because we're just going to take this finger, bring it up there, and then we're going to do the same exact picking pattern here. A string, D string, and then strum the rest. You want to put those together. You want that little bass line going. So that's another transition that you want to practice a lot. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So practice that. So the good ones back to practice is this one. Just keep going back and forth. And then this one. Get those down really well. And then finally, you just put it all together. Get right back into it. No hesitation. Do it 4 times. And at the very end, you're just going to strum it once. I went through it 2 times, but again, you're going to go through it 4 times. So there is your progression, the full progression. So what you're going to do is just practice those progressions moving back and forth. You go, the transitions, A minor to D minor, A minor, D minor, back and forth. Don't worry about it being perfectly in time at first. Just go ahead and get the mechanics down, and little by little you can work on getting those a little bit more smoother. And it's just all about getting your coordination up first. And then as time goes by, you're going to get more comfortable with it, start to get a little bit more smoother. Then maybe bring in a drum beat, practice the transitions. Again, A minor, D minor, A minor, and you're also going to do the C to the E minor 7th. You're going to practice that, get that smooth, and yeah, get those separately sounding pretty good. And every once in a while, of course, you want to put them together. And then when you have a good handle on that, that is when you're going to want to grab the backing track, and you're going to want to try going through it. Now go at a nice slow pace to begin with, because it's going to be a little bit different. You're focused on the different transitions on their own. Now you're going to be a little bit less focused because you're putting it all together. So go at a really slow speed, play along with the backing track, get that sound pretty decent, and then that's when you start to build it up, until you work it up to full speed. And that's about it. That's all you got to do. Just take your time with it, do a good job, and don't rush it. If it starts to sound sloppy, back off a little bit. You don't want to be playing anything sloppy just to play it up to speed. So that's about it. If you have any questions at all, let me know. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next lesson, whether that's another song or a technique or something. We will see you there in the next lesson. All right, take it easy.